Hi guys, welcome to the first demo video for 2D. This is going to be the demo for the first project, the gradient project. So I'm going to go over the supplies with you first that you'll need for this project. For starters, you're going to need your Bristol pad paper, the 11 by 14 one. So you're going to need that. You're also going to need one brush, preferably a square brush because they're easier to do straight edges with, so they look like this. It can be a big one, a smaller one, or a medium one, whichever one you feel comfortable with, as long as it's this shape, because that'll be easier for you to use. You're going to need a ruler, nice metal ruler, some blue tape, a cup of water, and then your white and black gouache paint. They should look like these little tubes here. White and black. Okay, so to start, I'm going to take a piece of paper out of my sketchbook, and I'm going to lay it down right in front of me. And the first thing we're going to do is lay out the measurements to create the grid that we're going to work from. So we are going to measure, starting from the top, 4 inches down. And then we're going to do the same thing from the bottom, 4 inches up. And again, I would suggest maybe making a couple of these marks so that you know you're making a straight line when you connect it all together, just like we did when we made the other project that we did last week. Make a couple lines so that you know when you connect it all together that it's straight. I'll just make another couple up here just to make sure that we're all set. And then once you have those, you can go ahead and measure an inch in from each side. So, inch, and then I'll do an inch on this side too. And remember, when you're measuring, you're going to start from the first line on your ruler, which would be right there, not the end of the ruler. So start at that first line right there. Okay, and then when you're ready and you've done that, you can go ahead and draw lines to connect all your dots. Draw a line at the top, draw a line at the bottom. And then you can go ahead and draw a line on either side to connect the box together. Looks like I just made it a little too short here. All right, so then once you're done with that, you will have a simple, long, rectangular box. It'll look like just like this, right in the middle of the paper. And then, when you're ready, after you've done that, you're going to lay your ruler down at the bottom, line the first line of the ruler up with the line of your box, and then you're going to mark at every inch a little dot. Until you get to the end. And this is on the bottom. And then you're going to do the same thing on the top. Line up your ruler and make a mark at every inch. sure you're marking it actually at the inch. And then, once you've marked every inch, you can go ahead and connect these dots together. So you're gonna have a bunch of vertical lines. And remember to keep your lines nice and light so that when you do go to paint, they're not showing through or anything. Just nice light lines. Okay, and we're gonna connect all these. And when you're done, there should be 12 boxes. Okay, and it'll look like this. All even 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Okay, now from here, we can start our painting. So, since we don't, once we do the 12 boxes, what you're actually gonna do is erase the last box, because you can either erase the last box or leave it there as like a little testing box to test your paint, or you can erase it. And that is gonna be, it's gonna be 11 boxes so that we have one equally in the middle, because this is gonna be where our middle gray goes. We're gonna have black, white, middle gray, and then the gradient throughout. So again, you can leave that box there. It's just easier when measuring on the paper to just measure in inches so that it's just even in the beginning. Okay, so you're gonna take your white paint, which I'm gonna dab a little bit on my thing. Actually, no, I will start with the black. I'm gonna take your black paint and gonna put a little bit on your tray, your mixing tray. And you're gonna take your paintbrush. I'm going to use this medium-sized square one. And I'm gonna dip my paintbrush in the water like I just did. And I'm gonna dip into my black paint, which is right here. Just dip right into here. And make sure you get like a nice even coat on both sides. Nothing too clumpy, nothing crazy. Just like a nice even coat, so just like that. Okay, and then you'll start by filling in your first box with black. Now, the best way to start this is to put the straight edge of your brush up against the line of your box, and then make your brush stroke away from there. So you're kind of doing like a press and sort of lift up motion. And you can do that all around your box. Now, if you're really nervous about getting outside the lines, what you can do before you start painting, which I'll show you in a minute, I'm just gonna finish this box, at least this side. What you can do is tape out your sides. So then you would use your blue tape here. If I could lift it up. Sorry guys, just getting my tape. Okay. Okay. Get my tape together here. Sorry a little bit difficult to lift up for some reason, but we're working on it. And if you get that, you can just use like the tip of your pencil. It should push it up. That's what I'm doing right now. Just pushing up the edge of the tape so that you can get a hold of it. Okay, all right, so once you get a hold of your tape, you can go ahead, rip off a piece, and lay it down right here. And because we're all new at this, I'd actually suggest that you do this. And you can tape all around your box so that you don't have to worry about. Did I just put my, no I didn't, okay. You don't have to worry about going outside the lines. So we'll do one on each side, and then we're gonna do one on the top and the bottom. Sorry, I don't know why this tape is being like this. Very annoying. Okay. And I'm noticing you have to pull it pretty gently to get a nice piece. So try to pull it more gently than I am, because it's clearly ripping. Sorry guys. All right. So anyway, minus my tape complications, which you can fast forward through when you view this video. Tape up your box, simple enough. Top, bottom, and the sides. And then you can continue painting, or really start painting. So we'll do this first, and then you can paint. Goodness gracious. Okay. So it should look like this when you're done. Now I'm gonna come back with my paintbrush and start again here. Just go right up to the line and lift up. You can go right to the top, lift up, and you wanna make sure that you're not using too much paint when you're doing this. And not too much water, because we don't want, if there's too much water, it will bleed underneath, which we don't want that, because then you won't have straight lines. And if there's not enough water, your paint will be all clumpy and weird. And the goal is to have smooth boxes. So, now once you have most of the box filled in and you get to the side of the box that's gonna overlap or gonna connect to the next box, just go really carefully right up against that line with your brush. And you can even turn your paper so that the line is right in front of you, and push up against that line with your brush. Now I have a hair sticking on my brush, so you'll notice that there's like a little bit of thing, but it'll be covered over once I go in with the other color for the next box. Okay, so once you fill that in, I'm just gonna dip in the black one more time in a little bit of water and get a nice solid coat on top so that everything looks even and complete. This way there's no lumps, no bumps, everything looks very neat. And there's a hair, so make sure there's no hair on your thing. All right, and when you're done, it should look like that. Then next, because the next color is going to be slightly gray, So I'm gonna take my white paint and put a little bit on my tray, which I'll show you now. Just a little bit of white paint. And I'm gonna take a glob of my black, my pure black, and I'm gonna take a little baby brush over here, dip it in my white just so I don't contaminate the other white that I have, and put it in here until you get like a very dark gray. So I'm mixing these together, and I will show you the color when I'm done. So when you're done, you're gonna get a color that's not quite black, but almost black. It's down here, slightly different. This is the pure black, this is the regular black, or the dark gray. So then you can go in on your next box and put this color in. And this might even be like a little bit dark, but it's pretty close. And just go right up against that line to get a nice straight edge. And if you're really nervous, you can wait until that paint is fully dry on your black box and put tape there so that you can get a really nice straight line, but I think you guys can do it without. It's not too bad. Not too shabby. So once you get that line, you can take it the flat of your brush and sort of push upwards towards the top. Okay, dip in my brush a little bit more into the water so I can get some more paint on my brush, and then just, again, really slowly going up here. Making sure to get nice, even coat of paint. Nice and straight lines, as close as you can. Okay, so that'll be your next color. And just make sure that everything is nice and straight. We have to go over that line one more time just to make sure that it's perfect. Fill in any imperfections. While you have this color still on your brush, and then you can move on. So now a good way to start from here is just to simply add some white to that dark gray pigment that we are using now. So you're just gonna take some white from over here and just add a little bit more to your dark gray pigment until it gets slightly lighter. And maybe just a little bit more black in this until we get it a little less light than that. We want it a little bit darker. All right, I'm getting close. Just a smidge darker. And then basically you're just going to do this until you get to white. Let me put this here. And again, try to make your lines nice and straight. This is something that you can use tape for if you're really nervous about it. But again, I would suggest waiting till that box dries a bit before you plop tape on it, because you don't want it to rip off your paint. It just causes more problems that you don't want to deal with. So I'm just gonna do maybe one more box for you just to show you what happens, and then I will come back with the finished product. And just make sure, again, nice smooth paint application, so that there's not too many lumps and bumps. Everything looks like one coat. The idea is to kind of make it look like those paint chips that you pick up at like Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever. Like nice smooth application of paint. Very concise. Okay, so there you go. So we got our first 3. And then I'll do one more time for you. Add a little bit more white to this. Okay. This should be light enough. Yep, okay. So then we'll do this box. And I would suggest before you like fully fill in the box, if you're not 100% sure about the color, just do what I just did. Just put a little blob right next to the box that you just painted, just to check it before you fill in the whole box. Because it's easier to cover it up, to correct it if it's a little too light or a little too dark before you paint in the whole box. I mean, it's doable to fix it afterwards, but it's just easier just to test it out, just to make sure.